My teen female, mom passed away 8 years ago. I look just like her, with the same hair, eyes, and with the right makeup. I resemble her exact face. I know that my dad loved my mom so much. Losing her hurt him deeply. We became tight-knit, and my dad has been an excellent parent to me. I know I can count on him for anything. He's about to get married to his girlfriend of 3 years. We had a rough patch a year ago when they began to talk about marriage. She didn't like that he introduced the idea to me, rather than ask her, and then let me find out or tell me together. She also didn't like that I don't want to participate in the wedding party. I'm happy for my dad, I truly am, and I like his girlfriend as a person, but she'll never be my mother, and at my age, I hardly need to bond with someone that way. I'll spend the wedding taking care of my uncle's kids. He's paying me, and I accept it. So this wedding is really not a big deal for me. I accepted the invitation to give a small speech about them, and that's all. A week or so ago, my grandmother, Dad's mom, his fiancé, and I went shopping to get something she wanted. I saw a dress that I liked for the wedding, and so we went to the store so I could try it on. It was an olive dress that matched my hair nicely. I'm a ginger. They complimented me, and my grandma said that it looked like my mother because she wore that color so much. Just a tiny comment. We moved on, and that was all. 2 days ago, my dad's fiancé came to me and asked if I was willing to dye my hair or wear a wig for the wedding. I was taken aback because, what? I said no questions asked. But she said she didn't want people telling me that I looked like my mother at her wedding. I said no and asked her to get out of my room because it wasn't going to happen. As soon as my dad came back from work, I told him what had happened earlier, and it made me feel uncomfortable. I went to stay with my uncle. They talked, and the wedding was paused because they fought, and his fiancé's family is blaming me because I caused this problem by refusing to compromise on the bride's request. I feel guilty because I didn't mean for this to happen, but sometimes when I try to talk to Dad's fiancé about things that I didn't like or how they made me feel, she treats me as a brat who wants to get her way. So I instead tell my dad and have him talk to her. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I struggle to understand how some women become a bride and lose their minds and go completely insane. Her request was so petty and out of line that it isn't even funny. If your father has any sense, he will tell his fiancé to kick rocks. You didn't cause this, she did. Her insecurities and jealousy about your mom surfaced, and she made a really unreasonable request. It's right that the wedding has been put on hold for now. She has some stuff to work through. In addition, your dad was right to talk to you first about the marriage. Fiancé is an idiot for objecting to that. What's next? She'll be asking you to have plastic surgery? And no matter what, never dye your beautiful red hair. You'll never be able to turn it back. She's jealous that you look so much like your mother. So glad that your father's a great dad and you went straight to him. Don't feel guilty or listen to anyone blaming you. You did nothing wrong, and this was all the fiancé's doing. I hope your father doesn't marry this selfish woman and finds one who understands the heart can make room for new loves without destroying the old loves. I, 44 male, have been with my wife for 12 years, married for 6. We have 3 beautiful kids. We support our kids. We live in our dream home. We vacation often. Life is good for us. I have no complaints. The problem is, when I was in college, I was 19. A classmate of mine and her wife approached me about being a donor for her and her wife. They were both in their late 20s and wanted to have children, so I agreed. I told my parents about it, so lawyers were involved, and I was not to seek them out or try to contact them or the kids. Everyone was on the same page. Eventually, I found out that they were both able to get pregnant. Everything was done in a clinic. A few months later, I signed some more papers at the lawyer's office. I never heard anything else. They moved on. I moved on. When visiting my parents, my wife and I ran into this family. Their son looks exactly like me, to the point where it was uncomfortable. Their daughter looks like my sister. They introduced us. It was awkward but pleasant. My wife was completely blindsided, but I understand. I never brought it up with my wife because fertility was a huge trigger for her when we started dating because she was told she would never have kids. But then we started popping out babies, so I never felt the need to bring this up because I could legally never be involved with these kids, like ever. She's threatening divorce. She's really struggling with the fact that our kids have siblings. I try to tell her that they don't. They aren't my kids. And these women, their mothers, mean nothing, literally to me. I went years without even giving them a thought. In hindsight, I could have, but I really was trying not to trigger a very sensitive issue for her. And we eventually have beautiful children of our own. So I feel like an idiot. What the heck? You're not an idiot, but your communication sucks, my dude. LMAO, yeah, I'd tear you a new one for pulling this stunt too. LMAO could have totally not been an issue if you had taken 5 minutes conversation 12 years ago. You are the idiot. Never mentioning it? Did you date for a second and then started trying to have kids? You're wrong for not being open about this with your wife. Now she'll be wondering what else is a lie and if you've withheld anything else from her. You have serious work to do if you want to rebuild her trust in you. And turning this into her problem, I was trying to protect you, instead of simply admitting and acknowledging you made a mistake, is a great way to wind up divorced. No idiots here. This is a tough one. Legally, you don't have kids, just like most donors don't. But I'm not surprised that your wife is shocked and hurt that she found out by being blindsided. It also makes sense that you wouldn't have wanted to bring it up, since fertility talks triggered her. You were well-intentioned, but she's entitled to her feelings on this. Hopefully some therapy will help. You are the idiot. Your kids do have siblings. Can you imagine if one of those kids and one of your kids started dating? Besides, you never thought that someday they'd come knocking at your door to get to know their biological father? You made decisions without thinking about the consequences on everybody around you. I, 28 male, have been with my lovely girlfriend, 29, for 3 years. We moved in together about a year ago. Aside from this issue, our relationship is perfect. She's a smart, compassionate, and successful woman, and I love her very much. I work part-time, while my girlfriend works full-time as a nurse. As such, I've taken up more chores around the house, including cooking. I love to cook, so I have no issue doing it. However, my girlfriend's food preferences are so insanely restrictive that it has sucked the joy out of cooking for me. She refuses to eat anything she deems unhealthy, which means no spaghetti, no hamburgers, no sloppy joes, no chili, nothing. Our go-to meal is grilled chicken with fresh veggies, which is delicious, but not I'll eat this 7 days a week delicious. I'm so bored of eating the same meals over and over. Anything with too many carbs? No. Anything greasy? No. A few times I've made my family's lasagna or grilled some hamburgers, stuff that I want to eat, and my girlfriend would blow up at me and refuse to eat and guilt me about it. I've reached my limit. I haven't eaten something I like to eat in almost a year. I set her down a few days ago and said I would start cooking things that I wanted to eat. I would still incorporate her favorite meals during the week, but some days I would cook stuff that I like too. She was furious. She said it was unfair to me to cook something she doesn't like, primarily when she works long shifts and looks forward to dinner. She said that we both eat healthy meals, whereas she would not eat unhealthy meals. So I'd be selfish to cook something that only one of us could eat. She asked me to make 2 meals. I said that it was unfair for her to expect me to cook 2 separate meals every night. I said she could eat the unhealthy meals, but she chose not to. I told her sorry, but if I'm cooking, I want to make the things I like too. She was so upset that she went to stay with her parents. Now she's calling me an idiot, and her family. They all eat only healthy meals. I miss hot dogs and French fries. Am I the idiot? Edit. I also cook and pack my girlfriend's lunch and prepare breakfast on the days that she's home. So I cook 3 times a day on most days. I'm fine with cooking what she wants for breakfast and lunch, but I'd like to have a day or 2 to choose what we have for dinner. Cooking 2 separate meals is not only time-consuming, but not exactly financially feasible since groceries are expensive, especially the ingredients she needs for her meals. I'm burnt out and just want to enjoy the food I like every once in a while. Not the idiot, and I think your girlfriend is being unreasonable. Why can't she batch cook a couple of chicken breasts on a day off so you can enjoy your burger and she has something readily available? Relationships are about compromise, and I couldn't imagine forcing my spouse to eat only what I want daily. That's unfair, and that's why it makes her the idiot, not the boring meal she chose. Why on Bob's green earth can't your girlfriend eat a leftover dinner? Cook a bit more on one night so she can eat that again the next night, and you can have your frozen pizza. Or why can't your girlfriend cook for herself 1 or 2 days a week on her days off? Or why can't you have your hot dogs and chili for your solo meals since you work part-time? Everyone's the idiot here. Just two people who lack the conflict resolution skills necessary for a successful relationship. This kind of sounds like an eating disorder surrounding the obsession with the eating healthy, more than entitlement. OP, but you'll need some real professional help to get past this. You are the idiot if you don't look into eating disorders, because that is exactly what it sounds like. Demonizing food is not healthy. Also, her inflexibility is very telling, among other things. I, 29, live with my pregnant fiancée, Sarah, 27, and my cousin, Mira, 18. To make a long story short, I basically raised Mira myself since she was 4 and I was 15. Her parents were extremely negligent, and when I was 20, she moved in with me. While she calls me by my name and calls me her cousin, we basically have a father-daughter relationship. Mira's important to me. She didn't get along with Sarah at first. I think she just hated sharing my attention, but I thought they get along well now. Sarah and I have discussed Mira and her situation. While I knew Sarah thought independence was better, I personally think she should stay here while she goes to university. A few days ago, Mira came up to me crying and apologizing. She said she was sorry for being such a burden and hurting me, for not realizing how I felt, and that she would move out and everything. I had no idea what was going on, and when I managed to calm her down, she basically told me that Sarah had talked to her. Apparently, she told her that she was old enough to move out and stop being a burden on me, that she needed to stop taking advantage of my kindness. I got pretty angry and reassured Mira that I loved her and wouldn't kick her out. I was furious and argued with Sarah about it. She thinks I'm letting Mira take advantage of me and that she's old enough to be independent. She thinks it's such an issue that Mira has referred to the baby as her little sister, that she's my cousin and I have an actual daughter coming, so I can't keep coddling her. Basically, she thinks I'm spoiling her with all this, which is ridiculous. That she did it this way because I left her no choice. The whole just a cousin has made me angry. Even if not by blood, she is my daughter. I raised her and love her. Sure, I spend a lot of time, money, and whatnot on her, but I would do that for any child I had. Our argument went terribly. I don't understand how she can see Mira as some leech I need to stand up to, and that she did what had to be done. Mira was really happy I didn't feel that way, and obviously hates Sarah now. Sarah and most of my in-laws obviously say she's right, and I need to have appropriate boundaries. Our friends mostly agree with Sarah. Even my best friend told me that Sarah was right when I vented. Apparently, I forgot my place, and it's unhealthy. I really don't agree with them, but having so many disagree, especially my best friend, is giving me doubts. I want what's best for Mira, and while I personally want her to stay, if it is actually unhealthy, maybe Sarah would be right. Sarah definitely went the wrong way, but maybe I was wrong not to take some of the worry seriously. Not the idiot. Mira's going to university. It's great that you're willing to let her live at home so she can get an education and hopefully not graduate with overwhelming debt. If she's in school and working towards supporting herself, that's a young adult worth subsidizing. I find it odd that you know Sarah well enough to propose to her, but had no idea how she felt about Mira, or that she would go behind your back that way. I hate to tell you, but you knocked up the wrong person. Sarah's trying to kick out someone who's like a daughter to you. Would she be happy if you kicked out yours and Sarah's once that kid turns 18? No, probably not. Another thing I don't think you realize is how Sarah lied to Mira behind your back to get a result she couldn't have obtained from you. This is a crappy tactic, a breach of trust, and a foreshadowing for what will happen in your future. This is how she'll act every time if she gets away with it now. Think about it, friend. Sarah is jealous, plain and simple. She wants all your attention on her, and the baby and your cousin is getting in the way. I'm sorry, Sarah needs to grow up or get out. She doesn't need to come into your home and kick out your cousin whom you've raised. A woman like Sarah is dangerous. She will do whatever she has to get her way. I, 21 female, have a 2-year-old boy with my husband, 21. My parents disowned me for having a baby before marriage, specifically with a white guy, but my husband's family have been wonderful, and I appreciate them a lot. All of them except his maternal grandmother. She doesn't like me because she thinks I'm a gold-digging immigrant. To be honest, I thought old ladies like her only existed in movies. My son has blonde hair and blue eyes like his father, but has curly hair like mine. Nobody in my husband's family has curly hair, so everyone found it cool but moved on because it's seriously not that big of a deal. My husband's grandmother is another story. She's been saying, hair like that doesn't run in his family, and other similar things, basically implying that my husband is not the father, which is insane because the two are identical. She's obviously saying it to bother me, and my husband and his family confirmed this as well. It's gotten more frequent since we got married late last year. My husband's family had a small dinner party yesterday, and for some reason, his grandma started telling my nieces, sister-in-law's kids, tween and teen, that my son isn't a part of the family because of his hair. After about 30 minutes of the three discussing my son's blood relation to them, I went to my husband's grandma and I asked her what the deal was. I admit that I was shouting and calling her insufferable and an irritating bug that you just can't get rid of. I then asked her if she cheated on her husband because her children don't have his green eyes. She started crying and told me to stop being ridiculous. I just called her a hypocrite. After everyone calmed down, my husband's grandma told me that she knew I wasn't as innocent as I pretended to be and that I needed to learn to respect people older than me. Her husband agreed and said that he's never had an issue with me, but I went too far today, especially since I'm aware that his wife has health problems. My husband, his sisters, and father say I did well, but his mother's begging me to apologize because her mother's very ill and doesn't know any better. It's only an apology, and I don't even have to mean it is what she's saying, but I can't. Maybe I'm being oversensitive, like she said. Am I the idiot? Edit. My husband has told his grandmother to stop multiple times. He isn't close to her or his grandfather for many reasons. He wasn't in the room when this whole thing happened, but I'm pretty sure he would have said worse due to their history. Not the idiot. Making a victim apologize for standing up to a bully is just a ridiculous premise. I'm sorry nobody stood up to you before, and that this was a shock to your system might be the extent of any apology I'd recommend. Don't apologize. That grandma does not get a free pass because she's sick, and definitely not for being old. She knows what she's saying is wrong. It's hurtful to you and your son, and no one should condone it. Granny needed telling off, and you did that. If you apologize, you're telling her it's okay to disrespect your child and you, and you're giving her a green pass to do it at will. Not the idiot. If she can dish it, she can take it. And additionally, in my experience, toxic people's health is not affected by others' responses to their toxicity. They just thrive off the attention, whether positive or negative. Your husband's mother, though, seems to be affected by what happened, so the only person you would apologize for if you choose to would be for her.